guys, and welcome back to the Saints VD channel of Something content for another Zoom call. It's just me and Tom this time, but we thought it'd be a good idea to have a chat about our loan players, the many loan players we've got out this season, and whether they've got any future at Southampton or whether we're going to be looking to sell them in the summer. So, Tom, mate, I guess we should get straight into it. The first one I've got listed down is Mohamed Elyounoussi. Came out this week saying that he feels like he should be given an opportunity at Southampton. It doesn't really sound like he wants to stay at Celtic going into next season. What was your take on it?
I obviously did have a really tough start when he came to the club last season, but I'm tempted to give him another go because we don't score many goals in that position. He's done well at Celtic, but obviously, like a lot of people say, the Scottish League isn't as good, but players like Van Dijk and stuff have come through from that league. So I think there's a chance that he could really kick himself into gear because he's got 3 years left, I think. So don't lose our losses, sort of thing. So I give him a go, I think.
Well, we signed him for £16 million from Basel. Didn't get an assist, didn't get a goal in his first season. Of course, that was 2 different managers, and we weren't really playing scintillating football under Hughes. And by that point, he'd sort of gone down the pecking order when Ralph came in. So yeah, maybe give an opportunity. I think it will depend on who goes. I think if Buffal is sold in the summer, then maybe there's a little hole there for him to come in. But he didn't really make an impact at all. You know, quite an anonymous player when he played last season. So that'll be an interesting one to see. But like I said, £16 million there. And then another player out at Celtic at the moment is Fraser Forster. Obviously, he's had a longer Southampton career, signed in summer 2014. Overall, pretty good one, but shadow of his former self the last couple of seasons, and I think it is time for him to go. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's time to get rid of him. He's obviously I think he's on a highest wage or something. So I think it's we've got McCarthy and Gunn. I think maybe we could upgrade one of them, but I think Forster's time's done really. Maybe he go back to Celtic maybe for a smaller fee or loan again. But I just don't think he's got a future in the Premier League with us.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. Obviously, very good goalkeeper on his day, but his confidence dropped massively. I mean, he hardly got a look in. I think he got one appearance last season, and that was against West Ham when we were sort of giving players a go. So yeah, for me as well, I think his time's done, but it's crucial that we sell some of these players if we're not ready to keep them on, because loaning out again is just prolonging their problem, really. I mean, they're obviously going to be happy on their Premier League wage, but at the end of the day, they should be playing football as well. And I do worry that potentially we'll have a couple players just happy to keep going out on loads of different clubs every summer until their contract runs down.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's sort of a tough one because the amount of wages we put on some players sort of has really made it difficult to get rid of them until their contract runs out. So yeah, we may have to be in a situation where we loan them out and just get a bit of the wages back.
Then the next one on my list in terms of the big money signings is Wesley Hoyt. Now, he's currently at Antwerp, has had a good season, to be fair, in the Belgian league. Was also at Celta Vigo in La Liga for the second half of the 18-19 season when Ralph came in. But for me, woeful first season, sort of proved under Hughes as well that he's really not up for it in the Premier League. Yes, he's had a good season in a different league this year. But we signed him for £15 million. I think he's probably at the top of my personal list to get rid. What about you?
Yeah, for me as well. He's got to go. Obviously, the Dutch league isn't, and he's been in Italy before. Maybe not as hard as the Premier League, and you don't play teams like Burnley, Sheffield United, teams like that really go at you. And I don't think the quality's there. So I think maybe he's shown those leagues. Maybe his style suits that better. So yeah, I agree. We should get rid of him, and I just don't see a future for him at all. At the club.
And then in terms of another big money player, at the time when we signed him, our record transfer, Mario Lemina, he went off to Galatasaray in the summer. That was more of a disciplinary sort of thing. I think he's a very good player in his day. Last season, struggled under Hughes because, everyone was struggling under Hughes. And then as soon as Ralph came in, had that abdominal injury and was out for 3 or 4 months, came back, scored against Newcastle, and I think had another few appearances here and there towards the end of the season. But I think Ralph was never too keen. And yeah, like I said, it sounded like it was a massive sort of distraction for the other players. They wanted to get rid of him. But for me, I still feel that there's a player in there. Obviously, he's behaved badly. But I don't know about you, but I feel like we could keep him and there's some sort of player in there still.
I feel like, obviously, he's not as good, but I feel like it's a similar situation to United. I've got with Pogba. His attitude isn't great off the pitch, but on the pitch, he's one of the better players on the team. But I don't think you can play Højbjerg and him in the same team. So it's a case of one of them two would have to go in order to keep going up the league. I think because Ward-Prowse is cemented inside, so I think you could keep him, but not as a squad player. He's got to start if he's going to stay. If not, he's got to go.
Well, then that's an interesting one, because if Højbjerg does go in the summer, doesn't sign that contract, then potentially Lamine will be put in there, because it doesn't seem like we're going to have much money anyway, given the whole coronavirus thing, with in terms of not having matchday revenue, the TV money, etc. We've lost a massive amount of income, and I don't think we're going to be able to spend much in the summer. So that might happen. I could definitely see that happening, actually. Mind you, I don't think Ralph will take much nonsense. So we'll have to see with that one. But he's at Galatasaray at the moment. Has impressed, a few Champions League games, but the talent's there, but maybe the discipline isn't. And then the other big money signing that's now out on loan, another one who, when he signed, was our record transfer for £19 million. That is Guido Carrillo. Hardly got a look in at Southampton. For me, I feel sorry for him. He's at Leganes now for his second season in a row in La Liga, but very much a Maurizio Pellegrino signing. Literally, he got sacked a couple months after Carrillo signed. And then under Hughes, he didn't get a look in at all, nor with Hazen at all in pre-season this summer. So for me, I think he's probably another one that maybe could get a look in, but albeit I think there's some transfer money that needs to be received.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to keep him, to be honest. We've got Femi coming through, he's been doing really well. Ings obviously on fire this year. Adams hasn't had a great season, but still played well in games. And Long, he's run out of contract in the summer, so it's interesting to see what happens there. But I just don't see us keeping five senior strikers. I think he'll be off to maybe Spain again from permanent.
And that is it for the big money players. But in terms of academy players, there are quite a few out on loan as well that have sort of broken into the first team at times, but potentially might not get that look in that they sort of desire. The first one is Josh Sims. He went out to New York Red Bulls for the second half of their season, but he's now gone back for the first half of the new season. They did pretty well in the MLS. I think he got one goal out there. I think they enjoyed his play as well, albeit in a less competitive league. For me, I think he's approaching 23, 24. Do you think he's got a future at the club?
I love things. I think if you reach that sort of age, should really be nailed on in the first team, really. Like, took a couple of loans away at Reading, which didn't quite work out a couple of years ago. But I think it's time the club's done, and whilst he's impressed in America, maybe that is his long-term plan and where he's going to play. But I don't see a future for him, unfortunately.
Well, when he came into the first team under Claude Puel in 2016, I mean, he's shown he looked like a really impressive player. Got an assist literally within the first minute of his Premier League debut. Got the assist for Long's winner at Anfield in the Cup semi-final. Was given a chance under Ralph Hazen until last season in the sort of second half of that campaign when he'd come back from Reading. It hadn't worked out for him there. Looked impressive at times. Also looked like he had a lot of work to do as well. So for me, I think there's a player in there. I just can't see where some of these players are going to fit in, because in terms of wingers at the moment, we've got Gineppo. He's definitely going to be a big player for us next season. I think lots of potential there. Redmond, already a star player. Boufal, might be off. Obviously, if we keep Elyounoussi, then that puts him further down the pecking order potentially. I just don't see where he fits. And it's the same with the next one, Harrison Reed. He's on loan at Fulham, but it's his third Championship loan spell consecutively. I mean, he was playing under Puel, he was playing under Koeman here and there. But for me, I think it's time to go. He's 25 now, I believe. I just don't see where he's going to get an opportunity.
No, me neither. He's, like you say, 3 Championship loans in a row. Maybe that's where his sort of level is to a certain extent. He did play well. I think it was under Koeman. He had a good run of games, but he hasn't really ever established or cemented a place under any manager. So that sort of says something, really. I think it's time to sort of let him go. Obviously, it's sad. It's a academy graduate, but I think it's time just to let him go, I think.
But we saw it last summer with Matt Targett. Obviously, he got quite a few first-team opportunities, but in the end, we decided that he probably wasn't good enough, wasn't going to get to the level that he needed to be a regular first choice. So I think in terms of Championship level, he's quite good. I think all the clubs he's been at have sort of praised him and sort of kept him with quite high regards. I think Fulham fans enjoy him. I remember Norwich fans being crazy about him when he was there. Blackburn as well last season. So, there could be this would be pretty steep, but I think maybe a £5 to £10 million price tag on him, possibly.
Yeah, £5 million.
And obviously, if we get over £5 million for him, we're going to be laughing. And then the next one is Jake Hesketh. Played a couple first team games under Claude Puel. think played in the Europa League against Hapoel, scored a goal in the League Cup against Crystal Palace on his debut, but since then we've never seen him. I think he had a few loan spells in League One and League Two, Burton and MK Dons. Now he's at Lincoln, has also had a bit of an injury-struck season. 24, I can't see him getting into the team at all.
No, I think he's got to go really. He's reached the age similar to Reed. You've got to make it by now, sort of thing. And like I say, he's had 3 loans, not even in the Championship, so I think it's time to let him go. And he's one that just doesn't have a future at Saints for me, I think.
The next up is Alfie Jones, also in League One with Tom O'Connor at Gillingham. Personally, I think Alfie Jones is one of those players that show potential, could still very much get into a cup side potentially, like second round cup side for Saints. For me, I think he's one that could possibly get into the side, maybe as a 4th, 5th choice centre-back. It completely depends, like I said, with who goes in the summer, but that could be an option. As for Tom O'Connor, I don't know much about him as a left back, but it seems like Jake Vokins and Ryan Bertrand would be ahead of him anyway, so potentially he will get another loan deal. But Alfie Jones, what do you think about him, Tom?
Yeah, I agree. I've seen him play a few times, under 21s, and saw him a couple of times this season for Gillingham. I think he's a good player, good progressive player, good centre back. I think he's played midfield for them as well quite a bit this year, so he shows his versatility. I think I'd definitely keep him and have him in around the first team if there is any sort of pre-season. And hopefully get him back and maybe, like you say, third, 4th choice, depending on who sticks around. And O'Connor as well. Again, don't know huge amounts about him, but I think he's again just needs another loan just to see how he goes. But he's down the pecking order because of Bertrand and Vokins being ahead.
And lastly, we've got Jack Rose, who's at Walsall at the moment. Goalkeeper, hasn't played at all for the first team, hasn't had any sort of opportunity near the first team. I think we signed him from West Brom for the under-23s 2 years ago, maybe 3 now. I mean, for me, sort of approaching his mid-20s, I just don't really see how he'd be given an opportunity if he's been loaned out to a League Two side.
Yeah, I don't see it at all. Like, got McCarthy, Gunn, Harry Lewis ahead of him, so 4th choice at best. But I just don't see him staying, and maybe League One, League Two is maybe his level as well. I just don't see a future for him at the club, unfortunately.
Well, looking at all those loanees, for me, rough maths, that could be at the very least £50 million in the summer.
Yeah.
They won't be anywhere near, some of these players won't be near their original price tags, but I think if we were to sell Carrillo, possibly 10 million there. Elyounoussi would be 10 to 15. Forster, I think Forster would be less. I think Forster would probably be around the 5 million mark, maybe less than that. But you put them all together and there's about £50 million worth of transfer fees that we could potentially get in the summer. Now, obviously, whether these players go or not is a different story. I think Hoyt is one of the main ones who've said that he's not going to play for Southampton again. So for me, like we said, he'd probably be top of the transfer list. But, you know, given the fact that we've obviously been held back in terms of revenue and income this past few months, and it seems like a lot of Premier League clubs are going to be affected in the transfer window in terms of what they can spend. This seems like the obvious opportunity to sell these players and get, like I said, 50 million, maybe even more pounds to spend on a few new players that will go into the first team.
Yeah, 100%. These players aren't going to be anywhere near the first team, so if we can get 5-10 million for a few of them, then that will help get backup players for such upgrades in certain positions that we need, like right back and stuff like that. So I think, could get some good deals out of this.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you have enjoyed it, leave it a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already. Follow us on all of our socials and we'll see you soon for another video.